Good afternoon, and welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program.
This program is sponsored in its entirety by the Southwest TV Translator Association and supported by the Dolores County Broadcasting Network as seen on DCTV Channel 32.1.
The News at Noon program is the best assembly of news and local weather and poignant commentary for the Four Corners region. Give us your feedback and news alerts at 677-4119.
With all that said, I'm Kendra Cook and my co-host is Kelsey Kiesling and featuring Jerry Tope with the weather. Now for February 9th, 2016, here's the news. The Durango Herald reported on the Bureau of Land Management withdrawing a proposed oil and gas lease sale over concerns that it was too close to McPhee Dam. A 720-acre piece of private land with federal subsurface minerals west of McPhee Reservoir at the end of Montezuma County Road Z is the parcel in question. It was listed in September for a February 11th lease sale. Local area resident Ellen Foster expressed concerns about the potential development impacting the dam because the border of the proposed lease was within 1 mile of the dam. Montezuma County commissioners agreed with the concern and included it in an August 31st comment letter to the BLM. The county urged the agency to analyze impacts a lease sale would have on the operation and integrity of the dam. The potential for seismic activity due to drilling should be thoroughly evaluated. The message was received, and BLM spokesman Courtney Whitehead said Friday, based on the comments as the lease was in the area of McPhee Reservoir, we withdrew it from the lease sale. The BLM also has announced that 5 proposed parcels for oil and gas leases in Dolores County scheduled for the February 11th sale will be postponed to allow time for tribal consultation. 3 of the postponed parcels, totaling 2,742 acres, are north of Groundhog Reservoir, another is east of Elston Mountain, and one is east of the Plateau and Summer Camp Creek confluence. Nearby parcels proposed for leasing in the area were deferred because of their proximity to Lone Mesa State Park. 26 tribes have ancestral ties to the Four Corners and must be consulted by the BLM regarding development zones to avoid harming sensitive cultural sites.
According to the Durango Herald, one of 2 doctors accused of overprescribing painkillers at clinics on the western slope has been sentenced to 6 months in federal prison, followed by a year of supervised release, the first 6 months of which will be spent in home detention. The Montrose Daily Press reported Sam Jahani, who was sentenced Monday, previously pleaded guilty to violating federal law involving controlled substances, healthcare fraud, and money laundering. Jahani and another doctor, Eric Pepper, were indicted in 2011 on numerous counts related to their prescribing practices, which were alleged to have contributed to the deaths of 4 patients. Pepper worked for Jahani, who formerly operated Urgent Care Incorporated clinics in Delta, Montrose, and Grand Junction. They were shut down after a 2009 raid by the Drug Enforcement Administration. Pepper is scheduled to be sentenced February 24th for conspiracy.
From the AP out of Denver, it is said that by 2030, Colorado's population will grow from 5 million to 7 million people, thanks in part to a strong and diverse economy, the state's famed Rocky Mountain quality of life, and its constitutionally mandated low taxes. The contradiction is most evident when the rubber hits Colorado's aging and underfunded roads. Governor John Hickenlooper is trying to find ways to squeeze more revenue for roads from the budget, while Republicans don't want to tamper with the 1992 Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, a constitutional amendment known as TABOR that keeps a tight limit on those taxes. That's sparking a battle over the size of government in a perennial battleground state just as the presidential election gets into full swing. So far, the low-tax crowd is winning. Republicans say the real problem is growing Medicaid spending. Colorado, which expanded the program under the Affordable Care Act, is spending about $2.5 billion on the health plan for the needy. The critical road projects, GOP leaders proposed issuing $3.5 billion in bonds. The governor says there's no revenue to pay back the debt from the bonds. Under Tabor, voters must approve any state and local tax hike. All agree Colorado's highway system, basically laid out in the 1950s, needs to be modernized. In swaths of northern and southern Colorado, 2-lane rural roads built in the Depression era are deteriorating under the load of agricultural tractor trailers and oil and natural gas tankers. The State Department of Transportation has a budget of $1.4 billion a year, largely devoted to maintenance. It says it needs $46 billion in the next 25 years to accommodate growth, but faces a $25 billion shortfall under current spending rules. But Colorado voters haven't increased the 22-cent per gallon state gasoline tax in more than 20 years, and politicians are reluctant to ask. It and the federal gas gas tax provide more than half CDOT's revenue.
According to the Cortez Journal, Americans spent $5.4 billion on legal, medical, and recreational pot last year, according to new estimates from the ArcView Market Research and New Frontier Data, two marijuana industry market research groups. The total includes more than $1 billion in medical marijuana sales in California, nearly $1 billion in legal marijuana sales in Colorado, and more than $500 million in sales in Washington state. To put $5.4 billion in perspective, that's more money than Americans spent on Doritos, Cheetos, and Funyuns combined in 2015, according to research firm Euromonitor. With $5.4 billion, you can get America legally stoned for a year, or you could have used the money to send the New Horizons probe to Pluto, the Curiosity rover to Mars, and had enough money left over to purchase the entire output of the Cheesecake Factory for a year. Keep in mind that $5.4 billion represents only legal sales. Illegal sales still account for considerably more than that, although it's hard to know just how much. In 2012, drug policy experts Jonathan Calkins, Angela Hawken, Bo Kilmer, and Mark Kleiman estimated the total market value of legal and illegal marijuana sales to be in the $15 billion to $30 billion range. ArcView estimates that legal sales are going to grow at a 30% annual rate over the next 5 years as more states jump on the legalization bandwagon. Vermont may be the next to do so if its legislature passes a legalization bill this year. Voters in California, Nevada, Massachusetts, and a handful of other states will decide whether to legalize marijuana this fall. A 30% annual growth would put the legal marijuana industry at something like $22 billion in annual revenue by 2020, according to ArcView.
Published in the Durango Herald, a proposal to fund full-day kindergarten remains alive in the Colorado legislature, though it faces hard political and fiscal lessons ahead. The House Education Committee passed the measure on a 7-3 vote, with Democrats and some Republicans offering support for the nearly $243 million piece of legislation. But over in the Senate, a measure was killed that would have asked voters to allow the state to keep taxpayer refunds, about $20 each, to pay for full-day classes. Representative Jim Wilson, a Republican from Salida, pointed to Durango School District 9R, which has paid for full-day kindergarten for about 20 years. The cost to the district is about $1.4 million per year. Wilson explained that because Durango schools must pick up the bill, the district is forced to cut other areas of the budget, including gifted and talented programs, as well as raises for teachers. Republicans in the Senate, however, said they could not support the Senate version of the bill because they felt the legislature's priority should be on erasing an $855 million funding shortfall known as the negative factor. We'll continue to follow important state educational legislation throughout the year.
According to the Cortez Journal, the San Juan National Forest announced Tuesday that it is working on several proposals this year in its battle with the spruce beetle, including public involvement and environmental analyses. According to an annual aerial survey conducted by the U.S. Forest Service and the Colorado State Forest Service, the devastation caused by spruce beetles across Colorado forests accelerated for a fourth consecutive year. The once widespread infestation of pine beetles has largely subsided, according to the survey. The spruce beetles were found to have newly infected 182,000 acres of previously unaffected forests, bringing the number of acres currently impacted to 409,000 across the state. The bug has caused varying degrees of tree mortality to nearly 1.6 million acres across the state since 1996, though still far less than the mountain pine beetle. Two other defoliators of conifers, the western spruce budworm and the Douglas fir tussock moth, also expanded their reach last year, touching nearly 340,000 acres of forests. San Juan National Forest officials said in a news release that it plans a small salvage sale this year for about 100 acres of dead spruce in the Pagosa Ranger District near Wolf Creek Pass. The district also said it is considering salvaging dead spruce near Wolf Creek and Falls Creek roads. And now, here's the local and national weather report.
The high pressure moving in from the west will continue to grow over our region for this week, so the dry and warming trend continues. Stability in this high will keep some cold air pockets trapped in lower valleys that are still under a blanket of snow. Sunny and warming for several days. We'll be lucky now if we've passed our coldest winter temps behind us. What do you think? Now for our regional satellite image, the southwest Uinta Basin, which is around the I-70 corridor west of Grand Junction and east of the Wasatch Mountains of Utah, there's been a strong inversion in place. It's likely to remain in place tonight, so fog is expected to form again late tonight and dissipate in the mid-morning toward mid-morning tomorrow in the Uinta Basin. Complicated inversions in lower elevations are likely to remain at least through tomorrow, so for those valleys trapped under them, temperatures will only change by a few degrees each day so long as the inversions remain. Clear skies will be the norm for the duration of the high pressure until the next system arriving along the west coast today has time to travel over the 3 states to our west. And earliest predictions bring it over the northern mountains late Saturday. The medium-range computer models show the system to be a fast mover with light snow and skiffs expected. But interaction with other fronts as it moves much farther inland need watching as always. In our national weather image, there's an upper level low over the Great Lakes, and its vertical dimensions are large. So it will slowly weaken and move to New England by tomorrow evening. The vertical deepness and the strength of this low has been forcing a rotation of the energy in the systems nearby around itself. And this rotation will aid in snow production from the Great Lakes to parts of the Ohio Valley and central and southern Appalachians into the northeast and northern and mid-Atlantic states through tomorrow evening. Rain is also going to occur over the southern mid-Atlantic coast through tomorrow morning. This low pressure system that's over western central Canada is moving southeastward and will reach the central and southern plains by Wednesday evening, carrying with it snow over parts of the northern plains this afternoon, bending a little more east-southeastward as it moves into the upper middle Mississippi Valley by tomorrow evening. It's expected to bring snow and probably rain as it reaches its southernmost push. The upper and middle Mississippi Valley and into the Ohio Valley will have temperatures 10 to 20 degrees lower than average. Now back to the northwest. The front over the northern Pacific will bring its moisture late today and tomorrow over the northwest coast. Snow levels there will be high, very high. There will also be rain over parts of the Pacific Northwest from Wednesday morning into Thursday. In our 5-day forecast, last night's low at Eastland Station has been reported as 12 degrees. Yesterday's high was posted at 38 degrees. My temperature estimations for yesterday's high were correct, as I expected a 5-degree overestimation by computers for the highs. And yet, on the low, the warming of the night before had given me great hopes for a warmer nighttime temps than predicted, and those were slightly disappointed as the low was still in the same ballpark. So today's 5-day guess starts at 49 degrees Wednesday and Thursday, climbing to 53 degrees by Sunday. Note that 53-degree day has moved a day further away. The nighttime lows tonight, not on this image, at 14 degrees, and then tomorrow night at 15 with 20 for 2 nights and 21 the next 2. Winds are expected to stay low for us during this day of this high pressure, so enjoy the weather while it's here. Now back to the news.
According to the Cortez Journal, candidates for Cortez City Council took some tough questions last week on hot topics such as the Paradise Village project and the long-term problems like economic development and drug addiction. The Journal sent all of the candidates a list of 15 questions. These 5 highlight the candidates' goals and their views on the best and worst things about Cortez. A few questions also challenge the candidates to outline solutions for the problems facing the community. The 6 candidates are competing for 4 seats. Karen Sheik and Ty Keel are seeking re-election. The challengers are retired electrician Tim Miller, mother Monica Plew, attorney Jill Carlson, and journalist Sonia Horoshko. The three candidates with the highest number of voters will serve 4-year terms. The fourth candidate will serve a 2-year term. The ballots for the mail-in election will go out March 14th. Ballots can be mailed or dropped off at City Hall on April 5th, Election Day. Voters will also be able to cast their ballot at City Hall from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Online, you can find more insight into the candidates' views on snow removal, water rights, marijuana policy, and how to make Cortez more affordable. The full responses can be found linked to this story at thejournal.com.
And this from the Cortez Journal. The National Park Service is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, but the system faces a multi-billion-dollar maintenance backlog that officials say is no cause for rejoicing. The bill for deferred work is nearly $12 billion nationwide, a $440 million increase over last year. About half the total is for road work. The remainder is for buildings, campgrounds, trails, and infrastructure such as water systems and wastewater treatment. The Park Service also hopes to expand a Centennial Challenge project that enables the agency to leverage private contributions to complete important projects that improve visitor services in the parks. Congress provided $15 million for projects this year that will be matched by almost $33 million from more than 90 park partners. Most of the nation's 409 park sites have a piece of the maintenance backlog. For example, Mesa Verde National Park has nearly $57 million in deferred maintenance projects. The majority of that is $25 million in work needed on paved roads. Hovenweep National Monument has had over $106,000 worth of deferred maintenance, while New Mexico's Aztec Ruins National Monument has $6.6 million worth of deferred maintenance projects, most of which include wastewater systems. A lobbyist for the National Parks Conservation Association, a nonprofit advocacy group, said spending increases approved by Congress will add up to vital improvements for park visitors across the country. Congress can ensure our parks are better prepared for another century by dedicating significant funding for the Centennial Challenge program, so it can continue to successfully attract outside funds that will help operate and maintain our parks.
According to the Cortez Journal, Dolores will hold its first mail-in election this spring, even though there aren't enough candidates yet for the election to be competitive. The election must be held because the deadline for someone to file to be a write-in candidate falls after the date for the town to start sending out ballots. So it is possible the election could become competitive, said interim town manager Lana Hancock. The conflicting dates are something the town would like to fix. The town has budgeted $5,000 for the election, which the town staff hopes will attract more participation. The numbers show it is generally the preferred method as well. During the last town election, about 120 people voted by mail and only about 60 visited the polling place. The field of candidates has a lot of familiar faces. Trustees Isabel Boyce, James Baird, and former Mayor Duval Trulson are all running for trustee seats, Hancock said. Robert Dobry is the only newcomer running for trustee. Trustees Sandy Lawson and Colette Heaney have opted to not run again, while Ginger McClellan Swoop's term lasts until 2018. Trustee Santiago Lopez is running unopposed for mayor.
And now with more on the Gold King mine spill. The Durango Herald followed up on what officials are doing, getting closer to recommending a Superfund listing in the wake of the Gold King mine spill after closed-door meetings last Friday. Governor Hickenlooper met with officials from Durango, Silverton, and San Juan County and said it appears stakeholders are on board to pursue the designation. The governor has until February 29th to meet a deadline extension to propose a new Superfund site in San Juan County. Local officials are also hopeful that they are getting close to offering a formal opinion on the Superfund designation, which would culminate in a vote by Silverton and San Juan County elected officials. There are some outstanding issues to work out, including securing assurances that impacts to the town would be mitigated and ensuring a seat at the table for local governments. Also, the EPA generally won't list a site without a governor's support letter. A listing would designate the site as blighted, allowing for an influx of federal dollars to begin long-term long-term restoration efforts, including building a treatment facility. The EPA has admitted fault in the August 5, 2015 spill. Also Friday, the EPA met separately with tribal, state, and local government officials for several hours to update them on the spill and plans for monitoring the affected waters. A La Plata County commissioner noted it was the first time that all stakeholders got together in one room since the spill, including representatives from Colorado, Utah, and New Mexico. Even though the meeting concerned public safety, including discussing next steps for a water monitoring plan, the agency opted to close the meeting, citing a legal opinion. EPA researchers released a preliminary analysis of water quality to describe the release, transport, and final destination of the acid mine drainage. Results must be peer-reviewed by an external panel during the week of February 22nd. The report is expected to be completed by mid-March. The EPA plans to collect the data for 1 year to review results and says it is working on a long-term, robust strategy. The EPA spokesperson added, attendees also assessed tribal, state, and local interests in collaborative approaches to monitoring water quality and solicit ideas for structuring a water quality monitor program across the watershed going forward.
According to the Durango Herald, Friends of the San Juans is offering free avalanche workshops this week in La Plata County. A seminar in Bayfield on Wednesday will mark the La Plata County debut of the Colorado Avalanche Information Center's Know Before You Go Avalanche Awareness Program. Attendees of all ages will learn the fundamentals of safety in the 90-minute course under the instruction of Jeff Davis, a San Juan mountain backcountry avalanche forecaster for CAIC. Friends of the San Juans and the Silverton Avalanche School are also offering a second series of courses and rescue clinics on Thursday and Friday in Durango and at Molas Pass. Swiss avalanche expert Manuel Grenzwein will lead a classroom presentation and outdoor field clinic with avalanche professionals. Admission is free for all courses, though participants must register at www.thesanjuans.org/event_calendar for the field clinic. Risks are high for avalanches in winter for the San Juan Mountains, which have seen a particularly white winter this year. Risks were heightened again last week as 2 to 4 feet of new snow pelted the mountain range, meaning higher potential danger for backcountry explorers and skiers. So far, 3 have died in avalanches in Colorado this winter. Most recently last Tuesday, when an avalanche killed a snowmobiler near Wolf Creek Pass.
Now in today's high country happenings, today is Mardi Gras, and a Mardi Gras pancake supper will be held tonight from 4:30 to 7 p.m. at St. Barnabas Church at the corner of North and Elm in Cortez. Cost will be $7.50 for adults, and kids 10 and under $4. 2 adults and 2 more kids will be just $20. This is a great opportunity to support Grace's Soup Kitchen. They'll also have a pancake flipping race at 6 p.m. featuring city notables. For details, call 565-7865. And Saturday the 12th, the Southwestern Colorado Livestock Association's annual meeting will be held at the Cortez Elks Lodge, 2100 North Dolores Road, starting with a 9 a.m. session, noon luncheon, 1 p.m. business meeting, all followed by a 3 to 10 p.m. silent auction, during which a 7 p.m. dinner and awards will be presented, and the dance starts at 8:30. On Friday, February 12th, live country music from Albuquerque with Kyle Martin will start at 8 p.m. at Blondie's on Main Street in Cortez. No cover charge, ages 21 and over, and details can be found at kylemartinmusic.com. And then following on Saturday the 13th, brings on week 4 of Cortez's Idol Singing Competition, 7 p.m. also at Blondie's. You can call them at 970-565-4015. And finally, the Bridge Emergency Shelter on Mildred Road in Cortez is in need of donations. They listed needed items such as bleach, razors, liquid laundry soap, gloves, hats, and socks, and they appreciate everyone's help as the shelter provides assistance to many counties. For more info, call them at 970-565-9808. And we'd love to share information about what's happening to support all of the regional groups, individuals, and communities. So please let us know your event by sending an email to dcbnnews@gmail.com, post to Facebook/DCTV News at Noon, or call 677-4119.
Again, thanks for tuning in. This program is aired live at noon and rebroadcasted at 2:30 and 8 p.m. on Channel 32.1 Dolores County, on Channel 30.4 in Montezuma County, and their cable Channel 5.
You can also rewatch the broadcasts on YouTube at the DCTV News at Noon channel, and check out, share, and like us on DCTV News at Noon Facebook page.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and all those who are working to bring you DCTV and the News at Noon program from Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. See you next time.